another road trip story. Actually, it's my first one. I just want to talk to you about, have you seen the title, that I applied to work at Comic-Con. This happened last week, Friday. I was at home. I received a text message from my roommate saying, hey, check this out. There was a Twitter post, a job announcement saying, hey, you want to work at Comic-Con? Come on down. We're hiring on the spot. Go to this location between the hours of 2 and 5 p.m. I was like, I was pretty iffy about it. I had to ship something off for my Ross finds at the post office, and since I was out, I was like, might as well go check it out. It's like less than 8 minutes away from where I'm at, so it was pretty close. So I scoped out the Twitter page announcement. It was pretty vague. It just gave a place that they were hiring on the spot, and be here between 2 and 5 p.m. I got there at around 2:10, 2:11. There was already a lot of people there. There was a sign-up sheet. I signed up. But let me just tell you that my experience trying to apply at Comic-Con wasn't the best of experiences. It wasn't horrible, but like, they could have at least been a bit more organized. Okay, let me explain. So when I got there, there was a guy that was pretty much at this table that was talking to everybody that came by, wanting to apply. And so he asked, what are you trying to apply for? Which is kind of a stupid question because nobody knew. They're just like, I just saw the post and I'm just here to apply, right? So there was 2 positions available. One, which is janitorial positions. They had over 100 positions to fill. So they were like, hey, we're hiring on the spot for this one, just show up. And then the second one, which is the one I applied for, was guest representative, service representative or whatever. I guess these are the ones that handle big crowds or whatever. They're just ushering people in or what have you. They had 2 rooms, one to interview janitorial and one to interview guest services. The table which the guy was at was in front of the janitorial room, which is right here. And then over this way and to the corner, that's where they're interviewing the guest services. Needless to say, there was about 2.5 sheets full of people applying for guest services, which when I saw the paper was about, I think, between 40 and 50 lines. So that's how many names they can fit per sheet. So maybe, I don't know, maybe between 80 to 100 people applied for guest services, and a lot more people applied for janitorial. And how they were interviewing was, for janitorial, they were doing group interviews. They were interviewing in the one room next to the table between 6 and 8 people at a time. And for guest services, they were only interviewing one person at a time. Literally, just one person per time. Now they were making it sound like they were going through it fast because, oh yeah, we're just doing 5 minutes per person. But the way they were doing it, it was just such a slow ass process. For instance, the guy who was doing the interviews for guest services, every time he was finished, he would walk outside the door, casually stroll to the table, and let the guy know he's ready for the next guy or next interviewee. Shake their hand, and then casually walk back to the interview room. Which is stupid. You're just wasting time doing that. There was no reason they should have put the table in front of the janitorial because you're interviewing so many people. They should have put the table in front of the guest services. So anyways, they're just wasting time walking back and forth casually to the table, to the office, to the table, to the office. And on top of that, they didn't have a queue, meaning they didn't have a row of seats where they can call out names and sit in order so the guy could just open the door and said, who's next, rather than walking to the table. They didn't do that. So that's stupid on that part. The janitorial was taking a bit longer. It took an hour, or 45 minutes to an hour per group. So either way, it took a long time. For hiring for Comic-Con, I would expect that you would, as a person, a recruiter, you would expect a lot of people So you would want to breeze through in this 3-hour gap. It was literally a 3-hour gap. Nothing more. Because the building that they were interviewing in closes at 5. And they don't, extend hours or something. So literally, once it hit 5, they had to let everyone go home. Say, oh, we'll give you a call, blah, 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 on Monday. It's Wednesday right now, and I haven't received a call yet. So there's that. With that said, I didn't get interviewed. I was like 5 to 10 minutes away from being interviewed. But it took so freaking long. And like a bevy of different people showed up. Like, I've been through a Cold Stone hiring process, so I've hired people before. And I pretty much know what to look for, especially if you want to talk about guest services or representative or whatever. So when I was looking at these people, I'm like, I don't think we would hire you to represent, guests. There was one lady, she was very pushy. She would always go to the table and sort of like bark orders and stuff. It's like, oh, when am I next? How much longer until it's my turn? Blah, blah, blah. Maybe she could be like good for like line management or something, like, hey, no skipping lines or no cutting or blah blah blah. And then there was this other lady who she had a really nice personality. I'm not gonna lie, but the way she looked like she may have done one too many recreational drugs in her lifetime. She looked like she was in her maybe 50s, 60s, 70s, maybe around the hippie era. But like I said, she was a very nice person. She had a nice personality when I was, just standing, just listening. But she had this like nervous tick where it had to do with her tongue. All right, and it was something I could not unsee. You know how like you want to wet your lips? You do a little side to side motion. But with her, like it was an involuntary sort of action where like her upper lip was drawn in like she didn't have teeth, like that. And then she would constantly stick out her tongue forward, like that, repeatedly. Even while she was talking, her tongue would constantly go forward. So I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I know we should be an equal opportunity employer, but if you want to be a guest representative that doesn't want to freak out guests, that might be a little detrimental to your applying credentials, if you will. So, yeah. There was just a lot of people that were applying for guest services where I'm like, I don't think you'd be good for guest services. But I could be wrong. I'm just judging it on a first meet basis, overhearing how they talk and whatnot. But needless to say, yeah, their organizational skills for recruitment was not that great. It was very subpar. It was kind of frustrating standing there for almost 3 hours, waiting for my name to be called, patiently, not constantly going up to the table and asking how much longer and shit like that. But the guy who was like at the front desk or at the desk, who was pretty much handling every question that someone had, like he had like the patience of a saint, because for 3 hours he kept being asked the same questions, asking the same questions, and like, I don't know, man, his patience was like godly. I must admit, me personally, having to deal with the same shit for 3 straight hours, I'd be a little perturbed. But for him, good on him. He stuck through it, and he persevered, and he got through it. But unfortunately, he told me, I'm sorry, we won't be able to see you. It's 5 o'clock, it's closing time, and we'll give you a call on Monday, which unfortunately never happened. So that sucks. I just wanted to let you know that it would have been awesome to sort of, like, I don't need the job, but, like, I was just thinking, like, it's Comic-Con. There are possible chances where you might see a celebrity or something during your work shift or whatever. So that was my main motivation, is to see if I can meet, you know, some sort of celebrity or whatever. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I haven't been called, so that kind of sucks, but it is what it is.